Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are reviewing Formula 1 Drive to Survive Season 4 on Netflix. I am going to sort of review the show as a whole because funnily enough I actually binge watched the previous 3 seasons like just before Christmas, so it is all still fairly fresh in my memory. That and a lot of the compliments and complaints I have for the first 3 seasons also do still apply to this current season. So it just makes sense to do the whole thing in one. Formula 1 Drive to Survive is an all-access documentary behind the world of Formula 1 driving. You'll find a camera in every pit stop, every changing room, every board meeting. When I say all access, I mean all access. And season 4 in particularly starts to focus in on Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes against Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. These two have been like boxers in a ring for the past couple of years. They do not like each other. There is no love lost between the two. They both accuse each other of poor driving and trying to take each other out of the competition. And I think it's fair to say they're probably both as bad as each other really when you boil it down. Before we go any further though, could you be a dear and pay a little bit of YouTube rent? Doesn't actually cost anything, just the wiggle of a finger on that little thumb button down there. And once you've hit the little thumb button, could you drag it over to the subscribe button and hit that as well while you're at it. It really does help me and the channel massively, and we thank you if you do. On top of that, could you give me a follow on Instagram? You will be getting access to further content, tournaments, polls, and you even get to decide what I review. It's so brilliant to take in because regardless of how you feel about each driver, whether you like them or not, you can't help but respect that killer edge that they all seem to have, where they can just remove morality from the situation and just do what they need to do to win. They don't care who they step on. They don't care who they might cause an accident for. I am winning this thing, and that's all that matters. They all kind of have that mentality, and it's just fascinating to see. A huge compliment that I can pay this show is that I'm not actually a Formula 1 fan. Don't get me wrong, I have full respect for what it is, but there isn't anything about the sport that really grabs hold of me and pulls me in to make me want to turn it on at the weekend and sit and watch 64, 70 laps of it. Especially when, generally speaking, it's only going to be this guy who wins it or that guy who wins it. Doesn't really do it for me. I'm not really a car person. Can change a tyre and fill up your windscreen fluid, but apart from that, I'm pretty hopeless with them. But this show gives you such an insight, such an understanding of what this takes to be a success within this sport. This is a hard career path to follow. They really make it evident to you that, you know, you are one of billions of drivers and there's only 12 teams that can choose you, and each team can only have 2 drivers. You're gonna have to be one hell of a miraculous talent to be one of those 2 that a Mercedes, a Ferrari, a Red Bull is gonna want, pioneering them towards a championship. And even if you get the job, it's incredibly cutthroat. You make a mistake, you make 2 mistakes, they will just drop you like a bad habit and find someone else to do the job. And from that point, you've literally got to start back at the beginning. If you're lucky, you'll go back into Formula 2, find a team, work your way up, win some races, get some recognition. But that's the constant feat. You're never, ever comfortable in this sport unless you are somehow a god of driving. It didn't ever lead me down the garden path of thinking that maybe I could give this a crack. Pretty confident I can't. I'm pretty confident this isn't the sport for me to suddenly start pursuing in my later life. You also get an insight into the teams and how they operate. I do think a lot of it is exaggerated and heightened for dramatical reasons, but you do get a sense of how each team operates, what their modus operandi is, what their beliefs are, what they're trying to achieve. But to mention on how the fact that I feel like sometimes it's exaggerated, I mean, they just do this. Netflix do this with their shows. They do sort of paint the background to fit the story they're trying to tell, if that makes sense. The owner of Ferrari, I apologise, I forget his name, but he is so painted out to almost be like Dr. Evil in this. He's like a short little guy in a red jumpsuit who's always in the shadows, and he's always in the Ferrari HQ. He's a bit weird that it's portrayed that way. I struggle to believe that he's actually like that. He seemed quite nice when he spoke. Christian Horner, the guy who runs Red Bull, I mean, they literally introduce him to you this season, riding a horse in full equestrian attire. If that doesn't scream pompous arsehole, I don't know what does. I mean, he was literally a dead fox and a basset hound away from being cancelled. Netflix know what they're doing here. I also really like the lack of censorship. As a football fan, I'm sorry to keep comparing it to football, but one thing I hate about football is the interviews, the access to the players. It's pointless. Don't bother watching footballers' interviews. They just say the same thing the last guy said. They're all terrified of being taken out of context, out-quoted. They're all on a script. You say this, yeah, great game, 3 points, looking forward to next weekend. That's all you have to do as a footballer. In F1, no, they tell you what they think. If they are gutted, they are furious with someone, they tell you, I am gutted and I am furious with this person. I also have to admit, I love the drama in this. Again, it is exaggerated. You can tell in the way that people say things. It's said to be a great little line for the trailer. You know, there's a moment towards the end where Toto Wolff says, everyone has a target on their back. Ooh, it sounds good, but actually when you break it down, it's like, well, yeah, of course they do, because it's a competition and everybody's trying to win it. So, do you see the exaggeration there? But I can't lie that I did get sucked into it. I did have opinions. I was furious with people when they did something stupid, or if there was arguments. I was forming my own opinions as to what was right and what was wrong. And I'm a rookie here. Like, I don't know. It's also well worth mentioning that some of the camera positioning and some of the shots in this are just so damn good. A lot of it is in the car, on the driver's face, behind the driver's face, so you really do feel in the vehicle with them. I did feel that sense of my hands were on the wheel and I was steering it, I was on the pedals, I felt my feet going at times. And you're fully invested in the races, like I say, because you get the personality of these drivers and the teams, you do latch onto them and you want certain characters to do better than others. Sometimes you don't want people to do so well. Not every driver is the most likable guy you'll ever meet. So I'm going to give Formula One Drive to Survive Season 4 and the show as a whole a 9 out of 10. Again, I'm not a fan of the sport, but this really is acting as that linking bridge that could get me into it. If anything is going to get me into Formula One, it is this show. The only thing that really does cut me away from giving it the full 10 out of 10 is that dramatization side to it. Sometimes I feel like Netflix go a little bit too far and they treat the audience like they're idiots. We're not idiots. We get what you're doing. We know what you're doing. And the more you do it, it just makes you look less trustworthy. And it makes me want to check that what you're telling me is true. Had they just reeled that back a little bit, I'd be sitting here giving you full 10 out of 10. Thank you for watching this review. Please be sure to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And please be sure to hit the comment section. What did you think of Formula One Drive to Survive? What's your favorite driver? What's your favorite team? What do you think about the show? Let me know in the comment section below. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you on the next review.